You are leaving the noise of the modern world behind. No rushing, no pressure, no need to solve anything. You are stepping into the ancient city of Alexandria, where the sea moves softly against stone harbors, where moonlight rests on marble columns, and where the greatest library the world has ever known waits in silence. This is not a story of facts alone. This is a journey into stillness, a journey into forgotten halls, sleeping scrolls, quiet scholars, candlelit rooms, and the deep mystery of knowledge lost to time. So breathe slowly. Let your body become heavy. Let your thoughts begin to loosen, and allow yourself to drift into the silence of history's greatest forgotten treasure. We enter the Lost Library of Alexandria. Chapter 1. The City by the Sea. Before you can enter the library, you must first enter the city. That is the first lesson. You do not reach wisdom by accident. You do not stumble into greatness. You walk toward it, step by step, choice by choice, breath by breath. Tonight, you are walking toward Alexandria. Not the Alexandria of noise, not the Alexandria of crowds, markets, arguments, and ambition. Not the city rushing under the heat of the sun. No. You are arriving at night. The world is slower now. The sea is dark. The sky is open. The moon hangs above the water like a quiet witness. And before you stands one of the greatest cities the ancient world ever knew, Alexandria. A city built on vision, a city built on hunger, a city built by people who believed that the mind could become larger than the body, larger than fear, larger than the small life most people accept without question. Listen carefully, because this is not just a city. This is a mirror. Every great city begins as an idea. Every strong mind begins the same way, with a decision. Someone had to say, "Here, this is where we build." Someone had to look at empty coast, stone, sand, sea, wind, and say, "This will become something greater." That is how transformation begins. Not when everything is ready, not when you feel confident, not when the world gives you permission. You do not need their permission. You choose. That's the key. You choose the direction. You choose the foundation. You choose what kind of inner city you are building. And tonight, as we walk toward Alexandria, you are going to understand something simple. Your mind is not random. Your mind is built. Built by what you repeat. Built by what you tolerate. Built by what you keep returning to. Built by what you allow through the gates. So ask yourself quietly, what have you allowed through your gates? Noise? Fear? Other people's opinions? Regret? Distraction? Old pain dressed up as personality? Be honest. Not harsh. Honest. There is a difference. The sea moves beside you now. Slow. Heavy. Ancient. You can hear it. The waves roll against the harbor stones, again and again. They do not rush. They do not beg. They do not explain themselves. They move. That is strength, not panic, not performance, not shouting. Movement. Alexandria rises from the shore ahead. White stone under moonlight, wide streets, tall columns, rooftops touched by silver light, oil lamps burning in windows, ships sleeping in the harbor with their sails tied and their ropes pulled tight. The city rests, but it is not weak. Remember that. Stillness is not weakness. Calm is not surrender. Silence is not emptiness. Some people confuse peace with passivity. They think if you are calm, you are soft. They think if you speak less, you have less power. They think if you do not react, you have lost. They are wrong. The deepest power does not always announce itself. The sea does not ask to be respected. The night does not explain its darkness. The library does not shout from behind its walls. It waits. That is the kind of strength you are learning. Quiet strength, controlled strength. Strength that does not leak from every emotional wound. You have a choice. You can keep reacting to every wave that touches your life, or you can become the shore, steady, present, unmoved by every passing disturbance. That is the work. That is why we begin at the sea, not inside the library, not yet. First, you must learn how to arrive. Most people do not know how to arrive anywhere. They carry yesterday into every room. They drag old arguments into new mornings. They let one person's opinion become the weather of their entire mind. And then they wonder why they are tired. Of course you are tired. You are carrying too much. You are carrying things that are not yours. You are carrying words people said years ago. You are carrying expectations from people who are not even building your life with you. You are carrying fear and calling it responsibility. You are carrying anger and calling it protection. You are carrying distraction and calling it rest. Stop. Not later. Now. That is the key. You cannot enter a sacred place with dirty hands and a crowded mind. You must leave something at the gate. Tonight, at the edge of Alexandria, when you are anxious, everything looks like a threat. When you are angry, everything looks like disrespect. When you are desperate, everything looks like a deadline. When you are distracted, everything looks urgent and nothing feels meaningful. That is not life controlling you. That is your mind being untrained. And yes, that may sound direct. Good. You need direct. Soft lies do not build strong people. The truth is simple. If you do not guard your mind, the world will occupy it. That's the key. Alexandria understood gates, harbors, walls, libraries, temples, storehouses, places where things entered and places where things were protected. Your mind needs the same. Not everything gets access. Not every opinion enters. Not every fear gets a throne. Not every distraction deserves a room. Not every memory gets to keep running the city. You decide. You are the gatekeeper. You have a choice. As you walk along the harbor, the stones beneath your feet are cool. The night air carries salt. Somewhere, a lamp flickers behind a linen curtain. Somewhere, a guard leans against a wall and watches the sea. Somewhere, a scholar is still awake, bent over a scroll, tracing a line of thought across the papyrus like a traveler crossing a desert. The city is alive, but quietly. This is important. Not all progress is loud. Sometimes progress looks like one page read in silence, one decision made without applause, one bad habit refused, one reaction swallowed before it becomes damage, one morning where you get up when you said you would, one night where you do not return to the thing that weakens you. That is how cities are built, stone by stone. That is how minds are rebuilt, choice by choice. Stop waiting for the grand moment. Stop waiting for the perfect sign. Stop waiting to feel transformed before you act transformed. Action comes first. Identity follows. That's the key. The city does not become a city by dreaming of walls. It becomes a city because somebody lays the stone. So lay the stone. Tonight, the first stone is calm. Not forced calm. Not fake calm. Not the kind where you pretend nothing hurts. Real calm. The kind that says, I see the storm and I will not become it. Say that quietly to yourself. I see the storm and I will not become it. Again. I see the storm, and I will not become it. One more time. I see the storm, and I will not become it. Good. That is how repetition works. The weak mind repeats fear without noticing. The strong mind repeats truth on purpose. That's the key. As we move deeper into the city, the streets widen. The architecture becomes grander. Pillars rise in pale lines. Courtyards open between buildings. Statues stand in silence. The city is a meeting place of worlds. Egyptian stone, Greek thought, Mediterranean trade, desert mystery, royal ambition, and human hunger for meaning. But do not get lost in the beauty. Beauty without discipline becomes decoration. Vision without discipline becomes fantasy. Knowledge without discipline becomes noise. That is why Alexandria matters. It was not only beautiful, it was organized. It gathered, it sorted, it preserved, it studied. That is what you must do with your own life. Gather what matters, sort what matters, preserve what strengthens you, study what frees you, release what weakens you. You do not need to keep everything. Some people live like every feeling is sacred. It is not. Some feelings are signals, some are storms, some are habits, some are old wounds asking for the microphone again. You do not have to obey every feeling. You can listen without surrendering. You can notice without reacting.
You can feel without becoming the feeling. That is emotional control. Not numbness. Control. There is a difference. The city teaches this in silence. The sea moves. The lamps burn. The guards wait. The scholars read. The night holds everything without collapsing. And you can learn to hold yourself the same way. Steady. Controlled. Awake inside your own life. You have a choice. You can live as a marketplace, open to every shout, every bargain, every passing demand. Or you can live as a library, quiet, ordered, protected, deep. That is the choice before you. And no, the world will not make that choice for you. The world benefits when you are distracted. The world profits when you're reactive. The world finds it easier to control people who cannot sit alone with their own thoughts. So learn to sit. Learn to walk without reaching for noise. Learn to hear silence without fearing what might rise inside it. Because silence will show you what noise has been hiding. That is why people avoid it. They say they are busy. They say they are tired. They say they just need a break. But many are not resting. They are escaping. There is a difference. Rest restores you. Escape drains you slowly and asks you to come back tomorrow. You know the difference. Be honest. When you leave the distraction, do you feel stronger? Or do you feel emptier? That answer matters. Tonight, Alexandria is not escape. It is return. Return to quiet. Return to depth. Return to the part of you that still wants to build something noble inside yourself. You are not here by accident. Even if this is only a story, even if you are listening in the dark, even if your eyes are heavy and the room around you is still, understand this. The mind follows what it is fed. Feed it noise, it becomes noise. Feed it fear, it becomes fear. Feed it beauty, discipline, silence, and direction, and slowly, patiently, it begins to change. That is not magic. That is training. The ancient city stands around you now. Behind you, the harbour. Beside you, the sleeping streets. Ahead of you, somewhere beyond the moonlit avenues, the great library waits. But you are not ready to enter until you understand what the city has already shown you. A great life needs gates. A strong mind needs order. A calm soul needs distance from noise. And transformation begins before the doorway. It begins at the decision to walk towards something better. That's the key. You have a choice. Stay outside with the noise, the old patterns, the familiar chaos. Or walk inward. Walk toward the place where knowledge is guarded. Walk toward the place where silence has power. Walk toward the place where the scattered mind becomes focused again. You do not need their permission. You do not need the perfect moment. You do not need to feel ready. You need to take the next step. The city by the sea is quiet now. The lamps burn low. The streets stretch ahead. And beyond them, waiting in the deep heart of Alexandria, stands the library. Not just a building, a test. Because knowledge does not change the person who only admires it. Knowledge changes the person who enters, listens, and allows the old self to be corrected. That is where we go next. Into the library, into the silence, into the place where scattered thoughts are gathered, where restless minds are trained, and where the first true lesson begins. Takeaway. If you want a stronger mind, stop living with open gates. Choose what enters. Choose what stays. Choose what must leave. Because the city you build inside yourself will decide the life you live outside yourself. And now, we walk toward the doors of the Lost Library. Chapter 2. The Dream of Gathering All Knowledge. Before the library was stone, it was a dream. Remember that. Everything great begins twice. First in the mind, then in the world. A city is built that way. A life is built that way. A stronger mind is built that way. First, someone sees what does not exist yet. Then they decide it must exist. That is where Alexandria becomes more than a city. It becomes a statement. A statement against chaos. A statement against forgetting. A statement against the small life. Because somewhere in the ancient world, someone looked at scattered knowledge and said, "Bring it here. Bring the poems. Bring the maps. Bring the histories. Bring the questions. Bring the stars. Bring the medicine. Bring the mathematics. Bring the stories of kings and sailors and priests and philosophers. Bring it all. Gather it. Protect it. Study it. Do not let the world forget itself." That was the dream. The Library of Alexandria was not just a building filled with scrolls. It was ambition made silent. It was discipline made sacred. It was the belief that the human mind could rise above confusion if it learned to gather, organize, and protect what mattered. Listen carefully, because this is not only about ancient Alexandria, this is about you. Your mind is also a library. Every memory is a scroll. Every belief is a scroll. Every fear is a scroll. Every lesson is a scroll. Every wound you keep reopening is a scroll. Every dream you keep hiding from is a scroll. And the question is simple. Who is organizing your library? You or the world? Be honest. Most people do not think. They collect noise. They collect opinions. They collect anger. They collect reactions. They collect other people's expectations. They collect unfinished conversations. They collect old embarrassment. They collect fear from people who never built anything worth following. And then they call it their personality. No, that is not personality. That is clutter. That is an unguarded library. That is a mind where anyone can walk in, throw scrolls on the floor, light fires in the corners, and leave. You have a choice. That's the key. You have a choice.
You can keep living with a mind full of whatever the world threw into it, or you can start gathering what matters. You can start removing what weakens you. You can start protecting what strengthens you. That is not soft. That is discipline. Alexandria understood this. The city did not become powerful because it was noisy. It became powerful because it knew what to value. It valued knowledge. It valued memory. It valued study. It valued questions. It valued the kind of silence where serious things can grow. At night, imagine the library waiting in the heart of the city. The sea is behind you now. The harbour is quieter. The streets are calmer. Oil lamps burn beside stone walls. The moon rests on marble columns. And somewhere ahead, behind high doors and guarded halls, the scrolls of the known world sleep in darkness. Not dead, sleeping, waiting for the right mind to wake them. That is what knowledge does. It waits. It does not chase you. Wisdom does not beg. Discipline does not flatter you. Peace does not scream your name from the street. You must go to it. You must choose it. You must walk toward it when noise is easier. That's the key. Most people say they want wisdom, but they keep choosing distraction. They say they want peace, but they keep feeding drama. They say they want strength, but they keep obeying moods. They say they want a new life, but they keep protecting the old identity that made the current life. Stop pretending that change happens by wishing. It happens by choosing. Again and again. You have a choice. Tonight, the ancient city teaches you the same lesson. A library is not built by accident. A mind is not trained by accident. A life does not become calm by accident. You must decide what enters. You must decide what stays. You must decide what leaves. In Alexandria, scrolls came from everywhere. Ships arrived from distant ports. Traders carried goods, but also stories. Scholars carried theories. Travelers carried maps. Priests carried rituals. Doctors carried observations. Mathematicians carried numbers. Poets carried grief and beauty. Astronomers carried the sky. Everything came to the city, but not everything became wisdom. That matters. Information is not wisdom. Noise is not wisdom. Memory is not wisdom. Pain is not wisdom. Even experience is not wisdom unless you learn from it. That's the key. You can go through pain and still learn nothing. You can repeat the same mistake for 10 years and call it fate. You can be surrounded by lessons and still refuse to be taught. Do not do that. Do not become someone who lives through everything and understands nothing. That is a wasted life. And you are not here for that. You are here to become awake. Calmly awake. Deeply awake. Not frantic. Not desperate. Awake. The Library of Alexandria stood for one powerful idea. Gather what is valuable. Study it. Preserve it. Pass it forward. Now apply that to yourself. Gather the lessons from your life, not the excuses, the lessons. Study your patterns, not with shame, with precision. Preserve the habits that make you stronger. Release the habits that keep making you small. Pass forward a better version of yourself into tomorrow. That is the work. And yes, it is work. Peace is work. Focus is work. Emotional control is work. Letting go is work. But the opposite is work too. Anxiety is work. Regret is work. Drama is work. Trying to please everyone is work.
Carrying what is not yours is work. So choose your work. You have a choice. Do not say you are too tired to change while spending energy on the things that keep you broken. Do not say you want peace while rehearsing every insult in your mind. Do not say you want clarity while opening the gates to every distraction. That is not fate. That is a system, and systems can be changed. That's the key. In the library, scrolls were not thrown randomly into dark rooms. They were copied, labeled, stored, organized, protected. A scholar did not walk into the hall and scream for attention. He entered quietly. He searched. He read. He compared. He thought. He corrected himself. That is the part people hate. Correction. Everyone wants inspiration. Few want correction. But correction is where growth begins. You do not become stronger by protecting every version of yourself. Some versions of you must be retired. Some must be thanked and released. Some must be buried with dignity. The reactive version, the distracted version, the version that waits for approval, the version that says yes when it means no, the version that returns to what hurts because it is familiar, the version that calls fear intuition, the version that calls laziness peace. Let it go. Not with hatred, with authority. You do not need their permission. You do not need the past to agree. You do not need the old self to feel ready. You choose. Alexandria did not ask the world whether knowledge deserved a home. It built one. You must do the same. Build a home for peace inside yourself. Build a home for discipline. Build a home for silence. Build a home for focus. Build a home for the kind of person you are becoming. Because if you do not build that home, the world will rent your mind to the loudest bidder. Fear will move in. Comparison will move in. Regret will move in. Other people's voices will move in. And soon, you will walk around carrying a city you never chose to build. Stop. Come back to the gate. Come back to the library. Come back to the dream. The dream was simple. Gather all knowledge. But for you, tonight, the dream becomes even simpler. Gather yourself. That is where it begins. Not out there. Here. Inside. Gather your scattered attention. Gather your tired thoughts. Gather the pieces of yourself you left in old conversations. Gather the energy you wasted trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Gather the time you gave to noise. Gather the strength you forgot you had. Bring it back. Bring it all back. You have a choice. That's the key. You do not need to live scattered. You do not need to explain your healing. You do not need to defend your silence. You do not need to announce your discipline. You only need to begin. Quietly. Seriously. Again and again. In the ancient city, the library waited behind its doors. It did not entertain the crowd. It did not chase applause. It did not become less sacred because some people ignored it. That is another lesson. Your value does not disappear because careless people overlook it. Your peace does not need to be loud to be real. Your transformation does not need witnesses to count. Some of the strongest changes happen in silence. A person stops reacting. No one claps. A person stops chasing. No one notices. A person stops explaining. No one celebrates. A person starts waking up earlier. A person starts reading.
A person starts thinking before speaking. A person starts saying no. A person starts choosing peace over performance. And slowly, the inner city changes. The gates become stronger, the streets become clearer, the lamps burn steadier. The library within becomes quiet enough to hear truth. That is transformation. Not drama, not noise, not a grand speech. A shift in what you allow, a shift in what you repeat, a shift in what you protect. You are not here tonight only to imagine Alexandria. You are here to learn from it. You are here to remember that the mind needs architecture. It needs walls. It needs doors. It needs sacred rooms. It needs places where shallow things cannot enter. This is why stillness matters. Stillness is not doing nothing. Stillness is where the mind stops being pulled apart. Stillness is where the noise loses its grip. Stillness is where you finally hear what has been waiting underneath it all. And the truth may be simple. You are tired because you have carried too much. You are restless because you have let too much in. You are confused because you have treated every voice as equal. They are not equal. Some voices guide you. Some voices drain you. Some voices sharpen you. Some voices weaken you. Choose. You have a choice. That's the key. The ancient library gathered the knowledge of the world, but even the greatest library could not help the person who refused to enter. No wisdom can reach a mind that will not become quiet. No peace can reach a person who keeps choosing chaos because chaos feels familiar. No deeper life can begin while you keep living at the surface. So tonight, choose differently. Do not choose loud. Choose deep. Do not choose scattered. Choose gathered. Do not choose approval. Choose alignment. Do not choose the marketplace of endless noise. Choose the quiet hall. Choose the lamp. Choose the scroll. Choose the silence. Choose rest. You do not need their permission. As the night moves over Alexandria, the library stands in silence. The sea is quiet now. The harbour is quiet. The streets are quiet. The great doors are still open, that there is no need to rush through them. Not tonight. Tonight, it is enough to stand here. It is enough to breathe. It is enough to know that a different life begins with a different choice. Inside those ancient walls, the shelves hold the dream of a civilization. A place for what matters, a place for truth, a place for discipline, a place for peace. And now, inside yourself, you can begin building the same place. Not by adding more noise, not by chasing more answers, not by proving yourself to people who were never meant to walk with you, but by removing what does not belong. That is the key. You are not empty. You are overcrowded. And tonight, you can begin to let go. Let the city teach you. Let the library teach you. Let the silence teach you. Gather what matters. Protect it. Return to it. Again and again. The dream of the library was never only about scrolls. It was about refusing to let precious things be lost. So before you drift away, ask yourself gently, what have you allowed to be lost? Your focus, your calm, your confidence, your standards, your ability to sit in silence, your trust in your own direction. Bring it back. Not with force, not with drama, not with another promise shouted into the dark,
Bring it back quietly, one breath at a time, one choice at a time, one night at a time. You do not need their permission. You have a choice. And the choice is this: remain scattered or become gathered. Remain reactive or become deliberate. Remain noisy inside or begin building a place of order. Tonight, Alexandria has shown you the doorway. The city has brought you here. The dream has been revealed. The world once tried to gather all knowledge in one sacred place. Now, you gather yourself. That is the final lesson. A stronger mind begins when you stop collecting noise and start protecting wisdom. A calmer life begins when you stop carrying what was never yours. A deeper peace begins when you stop asking the world to become quiet and become quiet within yourself. So let the scrolls rest. Let the lamps burn low. Let the scholars close their books. Let the marble halls fade into shadow. Let the moonlight rest on the columns. Let the sea move softly against the stones. You have done enough for tonight. There is nothing more to solve, nothing more to prove, nothing more to carry. The library is quiet now. Alexandria is quiet now. And you can be quiet too. Breathe slowly. Let your body become heavy. Let your thoughts loosen. Let every voice that does not belong grow distant. Let the noise fall away. Let the gates close. Let the inner library become still. You are safe here. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to stop searching. You are allowed to sleep. And as the last lamp flickers in the halls of Alexandria, remember this: what is precious must be protected. Your peace is precious. Your mind is precious. Your silence is precious. Protect it. Return to it. Again and again. That's the key. Now let the ancient city fade. Let the library sleep. Let the night hold what you no longer need to carry. And drift. Slowly, quietly, deeply, into rest. This journey was guided by L.U.N.A, the digital ambassador and virtual co-worker of Studio 5802. L.U.N.A brings stories, visuals and brand ideas to life through cinematic AI content. Always consistent, always scalable, always ready when a story needs to be told. From marketing and sales to internal communication and atmospheric storytelling, she represents a new way to create. Not replacing imagination, expanding it. This was the Lost Library of Alexandria, created with L.U.N.A by Studio 5802, where imagination becomes presence.